Hi, everybody. Who's here? Who's here? Get in the chat. Bridie's here, everybody.
Hello, I'm excited.
The great Bridie Connell is here for TIFU Fridays. Then I effed up, which was brave legends that I know coming online to discuss times they messed up in their lives. And I'm so happy you're here, Bridie. How are you?
I'm well. I'm excited. You can see I've put on my rainbow jumper and lipstick like for the first time all week in lockdown. I've got out of pajamas and track pants, so I'm excited.
That's really the whole point, you know, like that's what we want. We want everybody to feel like we're going out.
So I'm excited.
Yeah,
that's really the whole point.
I'm gonna,
you know, like
mute my YouTube.
we want everybody to
YouTube is going crazy. Hold on. I got to open it up so I can hear my freaking so I can see my chat, because the chat doesn't come through StreamYard. So Bridie, while I'm doing that, why don't you tell everybody look, how would you describe yourself, your job, your career, who you are, what you stand for, how you got here, basically?
Okay, just minor questions. Visionary and influencer. No, absolutely not. So yes, I'm Bridie. Greta and I met on we didn't meet on Tonightly. I think we'd like seen each other around the tracks, but we worked together for the first time on Tonightly. So I am a writer and actor. And originally I'm from New Zealand, where I did very serious drama and was a very highly dramatic actress. And then when I moved to Australia, I kind of fell into the world of comedy and have just never really left it. And I love it heaps. So yeah, now I'm super lucky. I get to write and perform in TV shows, and I do a lot of improv. I teach improv. So I get to just kind of be silly for a living, which is a really fun time. It's a vibe.
I mean, good on you. That's perfect. That's it. Improv, be silly for a living, and that's what we have in common. I guess. Yeah. I mean, and when you said we met on Tonight, I thought you were going to say Tinder. We met on. Oh no.
You heard it here first. There's a scoop. No, actually, the first time I met you, do you remember this? We did a cover shoot for the like Pull Out Sunday magazine or whatever it was for the Daily Mail. Or Daily Telegraph.
Yep.
And it was a feature on like women in comedy for a comedy festival like 5,000 years ago. And then we actually made the cover again when we were on Tonightly, didn't we, Greta? But this time we were being absolutely savaged by the same publication for being sneering TV stars. But they called us stars, so that's a wit.
I know, but that cover was for a show. I actually don't remember us being on the show the cover for Tonightly, but I do remember being on the cover for that particular tour was with Susie Youssef, and that show for me absolutely tanked. If this is a fail Friday, that show for me was absolute corker. It was basically, look, I am going to toot my own horn here. It was My Favorite Murder before everybody was ready for My Favorite Murder, and I got absolutely slammed for it.
You were ahead of your time.
Dane's here. Dane says, hello, Birdie. I think you meant Bridie, Dane, don't you, darling? Yes.
Hello, Dane.
Yeah, no. Good night. But it's always great to have you, Dane. It's always great to have you here. But I guess we'll get into it with how's your lockdown been? Mentally, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I think, it absolutely is a roller coaster, and I was definitely on a very angry, frustrated part of the roller coaster about 5 days ago. And yeah, like the start of the week, I was just, raging against the man, politely, which is how I rage, very politely and quietly. I still rage internally, but I've sort of mellowed out. I think I'm doing a lot better than I was sort of last year in our first major lockdown, because I guess although there's still unknowns about it, there's less fear of the unknown, which was a massive thing that I was finding last year. So this year I'm like, okay, I've done a lockdown before, I can do it. And so I've been giving myself little pep talks. I've been staying, connected to friends and doing lots of phone calls and chatting to my family back in New Zealand as much as I can, and just so many walks, so many strolls, very safe strolls. But yeah, so I'm doing all right, I think.
That was actually something you taught me when we first started working together was to rage politely. Like I've never had much control on my emotions, and I always go off, and I like, you know, if something makes me angry, I cut sick on something and I get cranky and I maybe cause personal conflicts for myself. But watching how you went about things really taught me just have some self-control and keep it to yourself, because I think you give the impression that you don't have a problem with anyone. Like because I remember saying to you once, oh, Bridie, how do you do it? You're so calm. You're so kind to everyone. You never lose it. And you go, oh, you just haven't heard my internal monologue.
Truly. That's interesting. I think maybe we could meet in the middle, because sometimes I feel like I need to be a bit more assertive and actually just say, no, that's, I have a problem with this. But sometimes I get a little bit, too in my head or worried that I'm going to offend everyone, and then I don't say anything, which is useless. But, it's interesting that you say that. I had a teacher in like year 7 or year 8, so quite young. He was called Mr. Much. He was excellent. He was a maths teacher. And there was a particular time like where there had been like a spate of like bad bullying incidents, and all the girls have been mean to each other at school, and there was like lots of the parents calling up to complain, and it was just kind of like this weird time, and so we all got pulled into an assembly, just our year group, and Mr. Much stood up and he like kind of delivered this speech to us all, which has really stayed with me when I think about how I get angry or don't get angry. And he kind of just said, I'm not going to tell you not to bully each other. And we're like, okay, interesting way to get into this. And he was like, look, some of you are annoying and you're going to want to, like express that because you are annoying. And if someone's been annoying to you, then of course you want to express that. But you shouldn't yell at each other and call each other names all the time, because it loses impact. So if you can just like hold on to it and then let rip occasionally, it'll have way more impact and you'll get your way. And I was like, what? And it's absolutely like every other teacher's like, no, peace and light. Don't ever yell. Don't get angry. Don't do this. But he was like, no, you'll get angry. Yeah, but just, think about the way you get angry. And then he went through a whole list of insults throughout history that he was like, these are way more creative than swearing at each other. So try some of these insults. And if you really have to swear, then swear, but use it as a last resort. Use yelling at someone at your last resort. And I was like, okay, that kind of made sense to me. And it was kind of hilarious. He broke the tension really well by doing it like that.
Well, it's that thing of why are we so, particularly as women, particularly as, Western women, why are we so scared of or averse to anger? Like, why are we kind of conditioned to go, well, no, anger is not acceptable. Like all those other teachers are saying, no, like we can't, you shouldn't be angry. Don't get angry. It's not acceptable. But sometimes it's necessary. It's a survival mechanism. Like it's there for a reason. Like you're suppressing something natural, and while you shouldn't have it all the time, certainly there's time and place for it, right?
Totally. And there's that, I'm gonna do a terrible job of paraphrasing this, but there's that quote of like, anger got slavery abolished, anger got women the vote. Like there's a purpose and a function to anger, but we are so conditioned, as you say, to like squash it down, be polite. It's not a pretty emotional state to be in, so we'll just keep a lid on it and it's more convenient for everyone else. And I still, even though I understand the function of anger, I still sometimes have to be like, oh, Bridie, it's okay. Like I will feel myself getting angry and then like brushing it away. I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm allowed to feel that.
Yeah, you're allowed to. Yeah, and speaking of being polite, we will say good evening, even though he's saying good morning to Captain Frandad. Hello from the UK. Hello, Captain Frandad. Is that like a friendly granddad, Captain Frandad? I love it. Good morning to you. I'm sure it is a nice morning in the UK with everybody vaccinated. What we're going through right now. Nice to have you here, Captain. So look, let's just kick it off. I mean, maybe I should open it up by saying something that I've gone through this week fail-wise. Do you think I should just
lay it on me?
Well, it was just like I did this like full sensey emo Facebook post last night about feeling unlovable on my public page, and it was something that was weighing on me because there's been a professional situation that I've been dealing with where I have to Simone Kennedy, Bridie's mum. That's your mum, Bridie.
It's time. And friend had
typos. What were you saying, Bridie? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just reading that comment. Friend is how his grandson used to say granddad. That's very sweet.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, I missed that one. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah. Oh, my kid's not talking yet, but he loves his grandparents, but he can't verbalize it. He just gets really hyperactive when they're there and cries when they leave. He doesn't have words for them yet. So the situation professionally was something I've been trying to like move on from a long time because I was treated quite badly during a recent professional circumstance, and it just keeps getting thrown in my face. Like my friends keep getting hired in this production. And I was like, okay, I'll move up. People keep calling me and going, hey, have you been hired on this? Because it's weird because you're not on here and I thought you would be. And I'm like, no, I was treated quite badly. It ended quite badly. I don't have any explanation. I don't have any reason. It's just been sort of brushed under the rug and I don't really have an answer for it. And people mean well. They're like, hey, just checking if you're on this thing. I have to tell them no, but it's a constant reminder. And then last night I found out my mother was hired on this production. She didn't know what had gone on, but she was hired. And it's like, can this thing just get out of my life so I can move on? You know?
Yeah.
So
like, thank you, universe. I get it.
I get it. And I just felt like, am I the wrong one here? Am I the person that, because I've always felt like, oh, I'm the person that's wrong. I'm the person that's weird. I'm the person that's strange, that said the wrong thing. Therefore, I deserve to be ostracized. And I just, after months and months and months of pushing it down, I just had to let it out on Facebook, which is like, I know it's an attention-seeking thing to do, but at the same time, like, if you need validation, you're going to seek validation. And if that's how, I can get validation and support, is that a bad thing? I just had to let it out and just be like, look, does anyone else feel like an absolute weirdo who is completely ostracized all the time, even though we are not children and teenagers being lectured about bullying, like you were talking about before? Like, yeah, it was just a bit overwhelming. I had to tap off the pressure valve a bit. You think you'll always grow out of it, but you don't. Things mentally, being excluded, being rejected, mentally regresses you to, well, for me, it's like that 8-year-old being run away from in the playground, the weird kid, I'm back there. I'm like, oh, no, I'm still, it's many, many years later, but I'm still there. So, yeah, that's my thing that happened this week.
Totally. I read that post. I didn't think it was attention-seeking at all. And in fact, reading it, it was like, oh, there's so much relatable stuff in here. And you could see from the comments, like it was very relatable to a lot of people. I will say that I think, just from the outside looking in at that situation, Greta, like, I don't think you're the weirdo or in the wrong there, because generally speaking, I think people who are in the wrong consistently don't always have the self-awareness to ask themselves if they're the one who's in the wrong, like I think, you saw the response. I think a lot of people feel like that. And I definitely have the same thing. When I feel on the outer, I totally regress back to high school, feeling like, oh, I'm not cool enough, all of that stuff. And it's so frustrating. I've been waiting for the day, for 20 years that I'll suddenly be an adult who doesn't feel that anymore. But unfortunately, I don't think it's a kid thing. I think it's just a human thing.
That's right. It's a human thing. And someone commented on my page, they said, someone once said to her at work, somewhere deep down inside you, you will always be a 14-year-old out of place. I was like, bingo. That's right.
Yeah.
Never. And I guess, for us, it's a thing of making friends with that 14-year-old, not regressing, not pushing it away, not bearing it, and kind of just going, no, I know you, I see you, I'm trying to give you what you need. But my God, that takes like, practice and work and all that kind of thing. Easier said than done. But yeah. So
Absolutely. No, I loved it.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, so look, what would you like to open us up with? With what kind of story? Can you tell us about a time in your life that makes you just go, oh no, no. I literally can't imagine you being like that. Like I actually cannot envision you. You know, I just can't. I get a mental blank. I can't see Bridie Connell being in that situation. So enlighten me.
Well, that's wild because I feel like it's a very frequent experience for me. And in fact, I was trying to brainstorm little stories and things that I could tell you today, and I just had too many. It's like, oh man. No, I have so many. Actually, I thought of quite a few in the sort of professional realm, quite apart from all the.
Is that what hits you hardest? Is when is that like me? Because when it's a professional thing, I just go, oh no. If it's a romance thing, I go, oh, this is a good tale. I could just tell my mates. This is fun. You know, this is therapy to talk about. But if it's professional, it's like I feel like you're like me, and you're a type A achiever person where you're like, that's the ones that hit hard.
Yeah, definitely. Because I take so much like pride and I find so much purpose and joy in my work as well. So when I do something where I've massively like got it wrong, I make it too personal for myself, and I'm like, oh, what does this mean about me? But no, I thought of something silly to tell you, which is not to do with my acting career, but before I kind of took a leap of faith and started pursuing acting and writing full time, I did a lot of teaching. So throughout uni, I did like drama teaching, sometimes, you know, as a curricular drama teacher, and sometimes after school and things like that. And I worked at a lot of really sort of like elite Ponzi private schools, which was very eye-opening and very inspiring for me later down the line as a writer, because there are a hell of a lot of characters that you find at those schools. But I remember teaching at this particular very Ponzi girls' school. So yeah, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, 5 years ago maybe. And I'd had this gorgeous class that term, and like we got on really well. And then one day I got called up by the head of drama, who said, oh, look, so sorry, one of the other teachers is sick. Like, would you be able to come in and take their class today? But they're a really horrible class. And I was like, oh, okay, how hard can it be? Like, they're just, you know, like I knew that school really well by that time, and I'd always had a great time there. And so I got to school and had a quick chat with the head of drama, and he said, they're just rat bags. They don't focus. They're really scatterbrained. They're all doing drama as a bit of a piss take subject. Like, you'll have your work cut out for you, but it's just an hour. You'll get through it. And I was like, no. I'm going to, like, it's like, I'm going to be the fun, cool substitute teacher. They're not going to play any tricks on me. I'm going to absolutely nail it. And so I got in there, and the first 5 minutes was exactly as he'd sort of warned me. It was awful. I just couldn't get the attention of the class, and I really used to pride myself on how I taught. Like, I loved it, and I was good at like working with that particular age group. Just wasn't happening. They were so scatterbrained. And then eventually, like, I hate to yell, but I was like, okay, girls. And they all looked at me.
Girls. I'm imagining these ratbag boys.
No, ratbag girls. And so I finally yelled, I was like, girls. And they all looked, and they all immediately went silent. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I gave them a little pep talk, but it was more like, this is why we're doing drama. It's great and empowering and all these things. So I gave them my best, like, inspirational kind of Coach Carter pep talk. And then just not a peep. And I was like, oh, I am inspiring. Like, we went from 100 straight back down to like focus. It was great. And so for the rest of the class, they really listened. They were very focused, but weirdly focused. So they were kind of just looking at me, but like they were a bit unsure, a bit unsteady. They're like, okay, yep, all right. And everything I said, they're like, okay. And then they do the activity, but they were always sort of keeping an eye on me. And I was like, okay, this is weird focus, but they are focused. And then at the end of the class, I said, thank you for your work, and dismissed them. And they all left the room silently. And I was like, that is weird. Like, what an about turn.
Yeah.
After the class, I was like, I guess it must be that I'm very inspirational, and they just weren't ready for it. That was what I was.
Oh, God, this is building up so much.
On the way back to the staff room, I went to go and use the bathroom. used the bathroom, came out to wash my hands, and I looked up. And to this day, I don't know how this had happened, but I must have scratched my eye or something. I had a trail of blood coming out of my eye and all the way down my face that I had not known was there for the whole class. So the reason they were so weirdly focused is because they were like, what the hell is going on? That is like some James Bond villain level horror. And it was just, but it was like just a trickle, a really thin trickle. So I didn't even really feel it.
Like
The whole,
like you were crying blood?
yeah, like I was crying blood. What a nightmare. Oh,
Look, okay. You say that's a fail. I say that you got the attention of the class, regardless. And you did what needed to be done that the other teacher couldn't do. Now, was he an older male teacher? Yes.
yes.
Yeah, I think. Look, you use whatever means necessary. If they imagine that you were self, it's like parenting, whatever.
I don't know how much of my lesson.
Sorry, go on.
No, I don't know how much of my brilliantly crafted lesson they took in because I think they were so scared. I like to inspire through love, not fear. But yeah, you're right. Like I guess it kind of worked. Oh, it was so bad.
But it's one of those ones where it's like bad after, where you kind of go away and you go, oh no. Like it's not in the moment bad. You're like, hey, this is working. This is great. I'm amazing. And then, but was there any fallout? Did anyone come up to you afterwards and go, oh my God, it's Miss with the bloody eye?
I wasn't asked to cover that particular class again. I will tell you that. But I did see a couple of the girls on the playground like immediately after, and they just quickly diverted their paths.
Scared of you. They thought you were going to mess them up. That's so good.
No, I'm very frightening.
Dane says he's just eaten 5 Gillian chocolate seashells, feeling best. Loving this podcast, Greta and Bridie. Great. Now, I've got a wild idea. I'm going to try and what do you reckon about getting Beck Shaw and Nina Oyama on this panel if they're free?
Yes, please. I love them.
Okay, I'm gonna suss them out. But I would say that's not. I would say that's that. Look, you haven't quite won me over with that one, Bridie, because I still think that's a grand success. That's a grand success in terms of you've won them over. You've got what you need to get done.
All right, don't worry, I've got more.
I'm gonna give you the floor. Give us another one. Give us another one. You're warming us up. Get them on immediately, Dane says. Yeah, okay, cool. Dane loves Beck and Nina. Okay, cool. So I'm going to give you the floor. I was going to say, how could it get possibly worse than that? And I think it could. TBH.
Crying blood. I'm so embarrassed by that. Okay, well, because
not me. You. How do we get you? There we go. Nope. I'm just going to. I am listening, but I am also texting.
Nina.
And here we go. Oh, I can turn my camera off. The solo layout. No. Stop cam. Or is that going to kick me out? What do you think? I'm still getting used to this. Stop cam. Oh, there we go. You got the floor. There you go, Bridie.
Well, hello everyone.
I'm still here. I'm just not on.
I can't see you, so you're not here. So it's just me and all the beautiful audience at home. Okay, so I did think of another embarrassing fail. Okay, I've got 2, but I'm going to start with one from my dating life because I always feel like that's an area rich with fails for everyone. This is probably about 3 years ago, went on a date with this lovely guy. I think it was date number 2. So we'd had like a very nice first date, gone out for drinks, and then we decided we'd go out for dinner the following week. And he was super lovely. And I was like, yeah, this is great. Okay, excellent, beautiful. And I got all dressed up and it was lovely. And we decided that we'd meet up a little early and have some drinks first. And this guy was really, really tall. And we sat down, we were having a beer. And it was just a really nice date. We were like, yeah, conversation is flowing. It's so easy to talk to each other. This is great. Let's have another drink. So we had another drink. Great. It was just going a treat. It was wonderful. And then we're like, let's have another pint. This is so great. Dinner can wait. It's great. And then we had another drink, and then they're like, the bar's going to close soon. We're like, oh, okay, we've been here way longer than we realized. Like, let's go get some late night Thai. I think we're in Newtown somewhere. And as soon as we stood up.
It's always Thai. It's always Thai.
It's delicious. Yeah. So as soon as we stood up, the first thing I thought was, oh, I'm not 6'4" like this guy, because immediately all the beer that I just consumed just hit me. You know, sometimes you stand up and you're like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Immediately was like, oh no, I've done myself a mischief here. This is not good. And then, as happens when Bridie Connell is drunk, I just had to focus really hard on being as sober as I could. So I was just spitting out every word and proving how sober I was. We walked across the street and went to this Thai restaurant, sat down and ordered some food. And I was like, okay, just hold it together. It's going to be absolutely fine. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to quickly go to the bathroom. Stood up, went to the bathroom, came back. And it's a Newtown Thai restaurant. So it's in an old terrace building. So it's quite narrow. So I went to the bathroom, came back. And as I came back, this guy stood up from the table. And he's like, oh, tag team, I'm just going to use the bathroom too. And me, being drunk but trying to prove how like articulate and sober I was like, of course you may, sir. It is right this way, and did like some weird gesture to where the bathroom was. And as I did it, I clocked an entire crate of bowls that just scattered all over the restaurant, and these ceramic bowls, just like some of them bounced to the other end of the restaurant, and a whole crate of them just shattered everywhere. And I can still see it now, like in slow motion. It was awful. And I could see his face, and all I could say was just, oh. And then like a few seconds later, I was like, okay, I've got to clean this up and get into it, and like whatever. And then this waitress appeared from nowhere, and she was like, do not help. No. Oh God. And I went and I sat back down at the chair, and the guy still went to the bathroom, and I just texted all my friends who knew I was on a date, and I was like, there's not going to be another date. I have to ruin this. It was awful. And there was like splinters of ceramics everywhere. It was mortifying. And
that's what I'm worried about. You cleaning up and you're hurting your hands. Like, yeah, I was worried about that.
And I just can't go back to that restaurant ever again, because it makes me physically recoil now. I'm just so embarrassed.
Do you remember which one it was, because you're so pissed? Like, because there's so many Thais in Newtown. Wow. Can you remember?
It was on Elmore Road. Yeah, it was black.
Your class, and you're like, no.
I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Pay my respects.
Like, it's pretty much like all of my entire 20s is like going past venues that I'm like, and that's if I remember. Like, you know, I just I remember there was one time where I was sort of fixing to move to LA. I was kind of like, is anything here for me anymore? You know, which is so smug and so who cares? Like, who the fuck am I? Do you know what I mean? But I was going, and I was at a karaoke bar, and some bloke I'd shagged rocked up, and I was like, oh, damn it. No, you know where I was? I was at the Regent Hotel in Kingsford, which was like our uni hangout, right? And I was like, this bloke showed up. I was like, oh, damn it. Oh, maybe I'll just go get a burger. And then I went to go get an Oporto from across the road, came outside, sat, because I didn't want to offend the staff at the Regent Hotel. So I ate it outside, eating my, I think, Bondi burger outside. And then, of course, another bloke I had a one-night stand with walks past as I'm having this burger in my face. I was like, oh, man, what are the odds? And then in the middle of Bat Out of Hell on karaoke,
perfect.
A third one comes up.
Was there a convention?
Rodney's here. Rodney says Tai Pontong. Is it Tai Pontong?
No, it wasn't. It was one on Enmore Road.
Okay.
Happily.
Rodney's the mascot of Enmore Road. Like he probably only goes to the vegan ones. So that's fine. You're safe. But I remember that. I was like, Jesus, 3 blokes that I've had a run-in with have all crossed paths with me tonight. I'm going to get out. I've got And that was part of it. And I think I went and I did. Rodney, do you remember this? I did this number at Fuck Club with a PH. I did a number about do you remember that old song Fun Ways to Die? And it was about being safe on trams. Yeah, so I did it like it's already a parody, but I did a parody song about running out of guys. Running out of guys. I'm really running out of guys. And I got like all the guys out of the song and the whole thing to come up. And like I did something stupid, but yeah, it was a whole thing about like, look, I've basically fucked everyone in Sydney. I've got to get out of here. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but that's just such a sweet story. Oh no, the balls! I smashed the balls.
But like, you cannot overstate how many bowls were smashed. Like, it was a massive.
But it could have been a meet cute. Like it could have been like, and she was so sweet. She smashed the bowls. Like maybe he would have called you back, and he was like, nope, denied.
Well, we are not together. Let me put it that way. It was so deeply embarrassing, and I'm used to doing uncoordinated things. Like I'm a very uncoordinated person. I'm very clumsy. I unfortunately break a lot of things all the time. I've broken a lot of bones. Like I'm used to uncoordinated fails, but it was just the drama of it, and as well, like. It just, one of the bowls bounced for so long and then it spun. So it took ages for everything to kind of just be silent again. It was just this coffin and everybody was looking at me. It was just horrible.
And do you think that the whole thing about breaking a lot of bones, it just made me think, because we both grew up in New Zealand. Do you think it's just like way easier to get hurt there as a kid? Like there's just like there's flying foxes, there's like mosquito ponds, there's mud pits, there's like chickens running around. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I mean, in terms of my broken bones, now that I'm thinking about it, I've broken bones in like 3 different countries. So I don't know if it's New Zealand. I think it's to do with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be to do with me. Look, there's definitely a lot of play equipment that we used at our school playground and stuff that would not fly today.
Like, no way. It wouldn't fly in this country. There's no public liability. I mean, in New Zealand, like it's like, well, if you get hurt, it's your own fault. Just don't be silly.
I mean, that's good. That's why we're so tough and fearsome now, Greta.
That's it. I mean, Christ, did you ever do those camps? I walked up a goddamn volcano with a tent on my back, and I was like 12, and we bathed in a river. Like they don't do that stuff to Australian teens unless you're at a private school and you do Duke of Edinburgh. But public schools, forget it.
No, we didn't climb up a volcano, but because I grew up in the South Island and quite close to Southern Alps, so very snowy and cold. In the winter, we did things like learn how to build a snow cave. So if you're ever like on the side of a mountain in a blizzard, you can make a snow cave, which I have not had to so far in my life. Maybe one day I will. I know how to make a snow cave. But I'm like, that is so hardcore. Like, what? Just left us there.
I feel like it's character building and it shows trust in young people. Where I remember the camps that I went on as soon as I moved to Australia, and it was like the kids were complaining about having a tarpaulin cabin rather than a wood cabin. And I went to public school, and it's just like no. Try build it. Try putting up your own tent in a flood and shitting in a hole. Like try that. It's fine. And everybody got sent home for getting high, and it was kind of like there was no gratitude for where you were, what your situation was, how tough it was to get there. It was just like, I've got tarpaulin, I'm going to smoke a bong.
I mean, there's not to be said for either experience. No, mine was more like yours, where they'd be like, okay, well, where you're camping tonight is by this river, which is 25 kilometers away. See you there. And then they just.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's good. I think it's like it's scary at the time, but you look back and you go, oh God, like growing up in New Zealand, they really trusted me as a young person. Dane says, well, Rodney says he remembers the running out of guys performance. Dane says rollerblades, those things were fucked for broken bones. Broke my arm twice with those beasts, but we look rad with blades on.
I did used to rollerblade as well, and I did.
Did you?
Yeah, except my mum, who I think is still watching, knows how uncoordinated I am and was always falling over. So I thought I looked cool, but I had like helmet, wrist pads, elbow pads, knee pads, shin pads, like everything. I looked like a hockey, like
Me double pad. Yeah. I've got a little wild card to add to the stream later on. Can you just give us one? We both know this gentleman. But would you be able to add 1996, baby? Dane says, yeah. What? Was that a movie, Dane? Blades. But you said you had 3. Can you give us more? Because this is so good.
Yeah, absolutely. This is another uncoordinated Bridie one from.
I have never seen. I will preface this. I have never. Not saying it didn't happen, but you must have got it under control and do the Bridie thing of working on it, because I have never seen you be uncoordinated ever. I have seen neat little desk, things in an order, files, like everything is like controlled. Do you want to borrow this? Do you need a tissue? Like everything is.
Yeah, I had like vitamins and supplements for everyone. I had a massive tub of hand sanitizer before everyone did. Like I was dispensing all the anti-germ. It's like the office pharmacist.
Like all I can think of is like order and control, and me just going, why am I such a fucking mess? Like
you have to like compensate for the uncoordination, because I definitely have worked on it, but it's still like the idea of doing like a team sport or whatever, like even the sports that I used to play, I would do individual sports because I was so scared of like letting a team down, because I was just, falling over and not very good at catching and throwing. So it's like, I'll just do something where if I lose, I'll just wear it and the whole team doesn't have to wear it. But yes, no, this is a particularly uncoordinated moment, which is seared into my memory from, I want to say, the late 90s, early noughties. So I've carried this for a long time.
There you go, Dane. 1996, Dane. There you go. One of your vintage.
It's possibly it was during my rollerblading phase. I'm trying to get the chronology right in my mind. But we had I think we were, I remember we're at the Harold Holt swimming pool in Melbourne.
Well, that's already bad. It's already bad.
Crazy name for a swimming pool.
Yeah.
I love it. Because we had like a year that we lived in Melbourne when we moved over for Dad's work. So we had a year in Melbourne, and I just thought it was so cool. And we lived right by the swimming pool, and it's always sunny and hot. And my dad picked my brother and I up from school, and we went off to the swimming pool to cool down. And it was just packed because it was one of those like really hot Melbourne days, like late 30s or 40 something. And Liam and I, having come from New Zealand, that's my brother, we just would not cope in very well. So we spent a lot of time at the swimming pool. And I remember this particular day, Dad had picked us up, and normally, like if Mum took us, she'd take me off to the ladies and we'd get changed and then we'd come out. But Dad was like, well, I can't take you into the ladies and you're too big to come into the men's change room with me. So I'll just hold a towel and you just change here. And I was like, I don't want to. No. Sweetheart, and he didn't want me to go by myself, even though it was probably like 100 meters away. But you know what? He was just being a responsible parent. Yeah. And so he like held up a towel, was looking away, and I was awkwardly like trying to like put things on and like, not show any skin. And
how old were you again? Sorry, I must have missed it. How old were you again?
I think I would have been like 8 or 9, and I was like pudgy and awkward, and I was like very spherical as a child.
That's what we call in this collection of spheres. He's like a ball. Yeah, I know. I can picture it. You're just a bunch of balls stuck together. Yeah.
Which is going to be crucial in a moment. So anyway, we'd like got our little spot up the top of the hill, and like it was. Like I just wanted to get in the pool, so I was like, fine, okay, I'll get changed. So Dad's holding up the towel like this. I'm trying to get changed, and then I'm like sort of like half got my swimsuit on. And then I just lose my balance doing this weird thing. And I fell into the towel, and Dad let go of it because I just fell into it. I'm basically naked. And remember, I said I'm spherical. I really could roll as a child. And we had been up the top of this hill, and I rolled naked, only with a towel like my legs the whole way down this hill until I smacked into the concrete edge of the Harold Holt swimming pool.
Oh,
and I picked up speed. Like it was a sight to behold, and it is still in my dad and my brother just did not know how to help me. No one knew how to help me. There's like this naked child who was like too old to be naked, and it was just really awful. I'm sorry that I've put that wonderful image in everyone's mind, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, poor little pudgy Bridie. I was pudgy at 8 too, really pudgy. And yeah. Oh, poor little thing. Makes me sad.
Yeah, I want to give like 9-year-old and 14-year-old Bridie a big hug and be like, you know what, it's going to be okay.
Do it. Dane loves that one. Dane's like, ha, ha, ha. And just, look, okay, I'm going to add a friend of ours to the stream, and he may have some questions, and this is just a random thing that's just happened. Here we go.
Who is it? Oh, no. Hi, Lynn.
Hello,
Nice
girl.
You fucking dolt. What is that? Is that a Peaky Blinder?
What's that? My lighting?
Your haircut.
Oh, it is a bit of a Peaky Blinder. Yeah, I didn't realise the short back and sides has a very deep history, and I did just have a trim, so thank you. And side profile and other side and back.
Thank you.
And,
I'm not sending this to any casting agents, dude. Like, it's not.
But why am I on the line? Why am I here?
Because I want you to have some questions for Bridie for the story. Did you hear that last story about hitting the goddamn wall naked? Oh.
Yeah, I got some at the end. I got a little bit of it. I thought you were telling me to prepare questions for you about a story about me.
Okay, go on. If that's what you think's happening, Dane says, who is this Homo erectus? This is Liam.
I just mentioned Liam, but I was talking about my brother Liam. This Liam.
Oh yeah, this is not. No, that's very wise. No, different Liam. No,
we are not related. I just want to make that abundantly clear. I don't share DNA.
Yeah. Okay. So this is good. I don't even know where you're going with this, but it's a wild ride. It's Friday night. Liam, what have you got for us? Are you going to ask me some questions for me to figure out what are you going to do? Tell me what it is. I heard a few lines.
I heard Bridie. I'm just having a little bit of this.
Cheers.
That's what it is about. But of course you have red. What is it? Is it some Melbourne BS?
It's a bit of Mornington Peninsula BS, also known as Pinot Noir. Right, guys?
It's got notes of plants.
It's got a lot of flavour. Anyway, I heard Bridie talking about a family holiday, not really knowing what I was supposed to be doing with this, but I thought of when we were on a family holiday down in Tasmania, me and my other two siblings and my parents. I was like 10 years old, and I had my first very short but intense relationship with a girl.
Okay.
And so there was a pool in this derelict hotel in Launceston. And this girl who was, I don't know, roughly 10 years old as well, and her younger sister, who was about 6, were watching me do these like really dangerous dives into the deep end of the pool. And so I knew they were watching because they were staring at me and there was no one else in there, and I could hear them giggling, and I was like, whoa, they're digging my dives, and I always knew my dives were good. So I kept diving, and I'm really like started doing sound effects, and I'm like, ugh, and diving and power splashing. And then the younger sister comes over and she's like, really, really cool dives. And I was like, thanks, whatevs. And she goes, my sister wants to be your girlfriend for life. And I was like, for life? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm ready. And she's like, do you like her? And I said, yeah, I do. I know I do already. And I'd never spoken to her. So she ran back and she told her sister, and we waved at each other from a distance. Didn't go up and talk to each other. Wasn't really ready for that. And so we just waved, and then I ran back to the hotel room, And I told my parents, told my family. It was a big moment. And Dad's like, well, we're leaving. And I went, oh. And we went to a different caravan park. And I was like, oh, okay. So we packed up our stuff. And as we drove out, she came running down the driveway and she goes, boyfriend, where are you going? And I said, oh, I'm going to Hobart. And we just went, and Dad just kicked up dust in her face and went, oh my God. I left. I've never seen her again. I don't even know what her name was.
To this day, that poor little 10-year-old girl has been like trying to track you down.
And she was your girl in life. Like, what are you doing? Absolute fuckboy.
The fuckboy began early.
Yes.
Right.
Bridie, I wanted to thank you before we just descend into chaos for all those beautiful, beautiful stories. And they're just so in tune with your personality of just, you know, charming and meaning the best and meaning the best, doing your best. I mean, look, I still think you succeeded. I still think you succeeded getting the class under control, weeding out the gentleman that's not prepared to have bowls chucked everywhere on a first date. And, you know, like, I'm having the visual of you rolling down the hill naked and your poor father. I mean, fathers don't know what to do with that shit in the best of times. Like, can you imagine? Like they mean well, they just don't know what to do, you know?
My mum would have sorted it out in 2 seconds flat, but my poor dad, it's probably scarred him just as much as it scarred me, to be honest. But thank you, Greta. I appreciate that you've found a silver lining to all of them.
It is. They're good ones. Yeah. Yeah, now we can just put shit on Liam for the next 15 minutes, I guess. Slightly less, 12 minutes.
I've just got a question.
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
Because I'm inviting bros, mates. I put the call out, and you know, because Sydney people are so fucking flaky, none of our Sydney friends dialed in, or they probably nobody. Okay, so my Sydney friends don't follow me on Facebook, so they're not going to dial in. So it's like you have to give them notice and lots of notice, and then they'll probably park anyway. But Melbourne people,
more reliable.
Because we plunged you into lockdown.
Yeah, I know. So funny. Yeah. I tell you what, I've got to give props to the political satirical geniuses at Batuta Advocate. Their stuff recently between Gladys and Dan has just been on point. It's just amazing. There's a photo of Dan like this celebrating, saying it's coming home because COVID's out, you know. We made that shit popular, you know.
Oh, Dane's and I knew it, Dane. I knew it, Dane. Dane has been here since we bloody kicked off, and he's another Melbourne representative. Do you want to jump up, Dane? Do you feel like coming on panel, or you just want to watch? I'll let you comment. But yeah, look, let's think of it. Could you have a fail story for this? This is Fail Fridays, Liam. Do you have a fail story for us that you can share that's not going to be like a complete ego stroking thing, like where you actually succeed, but like present it as a failure?
Yeah, okay. So, all right, so it's just a quick one. I was doing a film recently, and
casual, just drop that in there. Just doing a film. Oh, should I pick that up? Do you want that, Liam? I just picked up your just casual drop there. Sorry, go on.
Fucking hell, this is intense. I was expecting big energy, and this is what I've come into. Big energy, it's fine.
Sorry, I've been not drinking all week, and I'm finally drunk this week on Friday night. And this is what I'm subjecting Bridie to, and you as well. I'm going to give Dane a link, but yeah, go on. Tell me, you just did a film. Little film with who? Giannopoulos. Can you say who it was with?
So I'm sitting there, and I look over, and Vince Colosimo is 2 seats down from me. Oh, no drop. And so we did this scene where there was a Ferrari, right? Car drop. Okay, that's not. And so the Ferrari driver, he sat down and had lunch afterwards. And so Vince, Nick Giannopoulos, and this Ferrari driver, who was also a middle-aged ethnic gentleman, are all sitting there just talking their beautiful language. 3 Melbourne wogs just going at it. It was great. And they're all laughing, and I'm looking over, and me and Vince had only met once at Wardrobe a couple of weeks earlier, but I really wanted to just kind of break the ice and be like, hey, Vince, I'm playing Clayton. We've got a couple of scenes together, but Vince is kind of rock star. He's got the big glasses on. And then so they're laughing and they're talking about cars, and I'm thinking, oh, I like cars. Like, I can talk about cars, And so I was chatting to another actor. She was lovely, but she took a phone call. So I just kind of leant my head over to let them know that there's another bro here. And if they want to chat cards, I'm fucking down. Okay.
You are so problematic. You are so. Oh man, I'm adding Dane. You're so problematic. Dane's here. Dane's here for the rest of the story. Yeah.
And then so I'm looking over. I'm looking at him, and I'm not getting much back. And then Vince looks over at me, but he's got dark glasses on, so I can't see if he's looking at me. So I was so nebbish, and I just kind of went, "Hey, Vince," and he goes, "So, bro, have we met?" And I was like, no, I don't think we have. Hang on. And I just got up and did an imaginary text and just walked into a kid's playground, and I just walked away.
It's a good way to deal with those things. I think sometimes you just got to admit defeat and get out.
It was horrible. I mean, we had a laugh. A week later, we were on set together, had a laugh, but that was horrible. He looked at me like, why are you looking at me?
But here's the thing. He shouldn't. Like, this is a absolute ticket back in, and he should be grateful. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think.
Yeah, you're right. But he didn't say that at the time. He came in, dark glasses. There was an aura. He had a very intimidating aura, and I didn't want to fuck with that aura.
Right. Okay. Well,
bad start.
Also, I signed an NDA, so I probably shouldn't say this, but Sacha Baron Cohen. Anyway, let's move on.
Greta, I can so tell that you're about 3 glasses down, and I love it.
Probably 3.5.
Hi, Dane.
G'day, how we doing?
Yeah, Dane, Bridie, Dane, Liam. Dane is Dane. We went to high school together, Dane. What the fuck?
Oh, mate, we don't have to talk about those days.
What was that?
We don't have to talk about those days.
No, it's good. It's great because whenever I would do a show in Melbourne and because I'm a nobody, Dane would be the only person in the audience giving me a go. Giving me a go. You're a good pal. Wait.
I heckling you, was I?
You're probably heckling me. Now, Rodney's asking, has what? What, Rodney? Do you want me to let you on, Rod?
Let that on.
Really, we need some questions for Bridie. About those stories, about just any questions for Bridie. Dane, do you have any?
Yeah, where'd you meet that guy that you went on that weird date with?
Yeah.
We went to a dive bar in Newtown, of which there are plenty, and then we went to a Thai restaurant on Enmore Road. Like I said, I will never go back there because I'm too embarrassed. You know what, though? As I was telling that story, I thought of another. It just triggered another memory in my brain.
Oh my God, please. Okay, just I'm gonna go get the rest of my wine that I poured for Nathan, but I'm gonna drink it.
Scoop it out of the bathtub.
This is just a whole thing to aspire to. I love it. No, as I was telling the story about all the crate of bowls that I just sent bouncing and ricocheting across the room, just another memory awoke in my brain of the time that I went in for a meeting at Fairfax Media, so Sydney Morning Herald offices, all of that, and I was 23 or something, and it was to talk about doing some video content, and I was this is going to be my big break, this is really important, and I'd dressed up to look really professional and everything, and it was early December, and I got to the Fairfax offices, which are very fancy in Sydney, and walked in, and there was a beautiful, at Christmas time, they have those amazing, massive Christmas trees. And I was oh my God, that's so beautiful. And I went over to take a photo and just soothe my nerves. Okay, it's cool. Just be in the space, took a photo of it. And then my name was called and I turned around. And as I turned around with excitement, my bag swung into the side of the Christmas tree, and this whole like Christmas tree and this foyer like toppled over, and all the baubles just went bouncing forever on this like shiny tiled chrome floor, and just everyone in their suits just kind of looked at me, and I was like trying to pick them up, and it was awful. I didn't end up working for Fairfax. Surprise.
Sounds like you need to stop going on dates and getting a bubble.
I know. Or everybody I need to issue people with warnings before I leave my house so that they can like protect everything and like
Yeah, we need to put some sort of like styrofoam corners on the tables or something like that, you know. I've never seen this for myself. I believe you. I'm not invalidating these stories, but I wish I would have seen some clumsy Bridie for me to go, oh yeah, that's totally, you know.
One of my worst ever ones happened at the ABC. I'm amazed that you haven't seen this side of me. Yeah, when we had just started at Tonightly. So at ABC Ultimo offices, like radio's down one end of the building and then TV is down another end. We just started working in the TV end. And I was very intimidated by all the people at the radio end of the building, because they're like all the Triple J presenters, like they're so cool and like they know all the hip things to know. And so I'd occasionally like catch glimpses of them and I'm like, wow. But they were like a different special breed of human to me. And we were like, the Tonightly offices were like windowless and airless and had no natural light, and we were like in our dungeon, which was fine. But one day I had a meeting down the radio end of the building and had my meeting, and I was like, well, this is very exciting, seeing what it's like down here. I got in the lift on that side of the building and someone was like, hold the lift. And it was 2 Triple J presenters. And immediately, like we weren't on air yet, like we hadn't done a show, but I was like, oh my God, celebrities, that's so cool. I'm in an elevator with like 2 Triple J presenters. And in my head, I was like, Bridie, be cool. Just say some cool things. So it's like, oh, hey, I'm Bridie. I just started working here for Tonightly. I'm sure we'll like bump into each other, and just had a little chat. And I think it went okay. Like I was just charming. It was a short elevator ride, but like we had a quick laugh, and it's like, cool. And as my floor, the doors opened, I was like, cool, nailed that. What was I so worried about? And then I stepped out of the lift and just like was really like, yeah, I nailed that. And like did a little hair flick and like, bye guys, nice to meet you. And the doors closed. And as I did that flick, my lanyard got caught in the and my lanyard got closed with my photo ID on the elevator side. So I presume that you saw like, my photo ID sliding up. And I had to like rip it, because it's like, oh my God, I'm going to get strangled here. And that was just like an average Wednesday for me, Greta.
And the Triple J hosts go, oh my God, do you reckon that girl like died? Yeah. We're going to wrap up soon, but I have a question for Dave. Dave, do you go to a lot of festivals these days? What's with the get up?
Oh, yeah, listen, I used to. My friend, she used to design all these clothes like for big festivals, and she had this shop at Rainbow Serpent Festival. So I got this top pre-ordered from her. Hang on, it gets better actually, this shirt. Let's have a look.
Let's see.
It's even got a photo of me. You see that one? As a lifeguard.
It's out of focus, but yeah. But is it so? Okay, so it's you. Yeah.
It's got a photo of me in this top that says, "Oi, get between the flags." Me dressed as a lifesaver, with one flag, but there was never another flag. So when I used to say it to all these scun out goobers on the dance floor, I'm like, "Oi, get between the flags." They'd be like, "Where the fuck's the other flag?"
So good.
I love it.
Oh, that's so good. I love it. That's so good. Now, does anyone, it's like one more, we got a couple more minutes to go. Does anyone have stuff they want to plug? Liam, I know you want to plug your little movie.
Well, Sure. It's not going to come out till next year. It's a while away. But it's just,
you need to plug it. I mean, I'm sure the campaign's going to be huge. But, if you want to talk about it, talk about it. We want to hear about it.
Of course.
It's Wog Boy 3, so it's the third installment of that franchise, and it's called Wog Boys Forever. It should be pretty funny. It's going to be out next year, maybe.
Third installment of that franchise. You make it sound like Fast and the Furious.
It is actually. Nick Giannopoulos has been recast by Vin Diesel.
Right. So it's like, instead of the Marvel universe, it's the WOG universe.
Well, no, they switched. So now Nick Giannopoulos is now the main guy in Fast and the Furious.
Ideal. Makes sense.
Yeah. They needed a new kind of, sex symbol. So
did you have a great time?
The other guy fucking died, so who are you going to cast? Giannopoulos, clearly.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Or you made this movie?
Pardon?
What?
Are you acting in this movie, or did you make this movie?
Yeah. He's the baddie.
Oh, acting. Yeah. No, I didn't make it. I'm not that.
They made a second one?
Yeah. This is the second one. This is the third.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. Come on. Actually, what I will say is this is one of the few people making films, albeit, whatever franchise, they're making films in Australia consistently on brand. Like I actually don't know anybody else in Australia that's doing that, really. So there's merit to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's classed as an independent film in terms of funding. But it's good. It should be pretty funny. It's back in Melbourne. So the second one was set in Mykonos and didn't really get all the love that the first one got. But now this one returns to the same story, similar kind of story. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
How fun. I can't wait.
That's awesome.
Has anyone actually ever been to Mykonos?
No, I'd like to. But they shot the second film. They shot the second film in Mykonos, which I never knew, for 10 weeks and fully funded. Everyone went over for 10 weeks in hotel in Mykonos.
Really?
Can you imagine the party?
Jesus.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You need
Probably why I didn't go back. Was Vince Colosimo banned from going back there, was he?
Yeah.
He's banned from Europe. They just, as a continent, they just wiped him.
I've got one fucking terrible story from Mykonos when I was there to end on. But before we do that, I want to ask Bridie if she's got any. Bridie, do you have anything to plug? Anything we should look out for? I know you've been doing some really sick lockdown content. I mean, not even lockdown content, like actual, content and music videos that are always so amazing.
I've got a few cool music videos coming out in a few weeks, but I can't talk about them yet. But I hope to be doing a show with dear friend of yours and mine, Greta, Wyatt, on August the 28th at Giant Dwarf. However, because of this thing called COVID, we're not sure if he will be able to leave Western Australia. So we're hoping that the show will go ahead, but it might be postponed. So stay tuned. I'll post about it on my socials if we get to go ahead.
It'll be so good. Oh my God, I hope it goes ahead. It'll be so good. Love watching you guys and your improv, and it's world class. It's world class musical improv, in my opinion. Yeah. So before we go,
can I plug something for Bridie?
Yeah.
Bridie has an aria.
Oh yeah. Bridie has an aria. Yeah. It's such an Australian. Be like, nah, I don't really have much going on. And Americans go, okay.
It's true, and I won it with Wyatt, who hopefully will be doing the show together. Thank you, Liam. Liam, you're my publicist. You're hired.
Hot Scorpio's been watching quietly. Good on ya. So look, before we go, I'm just going to add one more story about Mykonos because you got me thinking. We went on a girls' trip there. Oh God, mid-20s. I was 24, 25 or something like that. Went with some high school friends. Long time ago. Oh fuck you. We went there and it was just an absolute fuck fest. It was just Italian men like the Southern Italian men are just like, yep, we're up for it. And Australian girls are like, yep, we're up for it. And everyone's just having sex. And so I mean, there's a few stories from there, but this one is the most notable. I disappeared. Okay, there was a nightclub where there was a host called, the nightclub was called Paradiso Nightclub. It was on the beach. And the host was a guy called Sasa. And Sasa was a bald man, and he was fully bald, and all he would do was wear like a mask, like a just an elephant or a parrot or something on his pee-pee. And that's all he would wear, is just this mask. And he would dance around like this, and he'd be like, Sasa! And that's all he would do. Just say, Sasa! Mykonos! And he had this parrot on his penis, or an elephant. And then we went to this club and we were dancing to like Sasa, Mykonos. And then I saw someone that I had my eye on. We went off to the, like, I guess it would be the dunes, the rugged terrain of Mykonos to copulate. And I came back and my hair was like up like this, like stuck like that. And do you remember Sarah Ivanoff?
Yeah.
And so Sarah's like, what the fuck is wrong with your hair? What have you done? Like, this is so bad. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just went and rooted that guy on the mountain. And she's like, let me see. And so I'm sitting on this podium with my hair like this. And she's like, you've got all these spurs. You've got all these like plant spurs in your hair. God damn it. And she's sitting, I'm sitting on this podium, and she's picking out the spurs like a monkey, like a mother monkey, getting out the spurs, these like rough Mykonos type plants out of the underside of my hair, in this middle of this, while this bald Italian man's going Mykonos with an elephant on his dick. So there you go.
No.
Who said romance is dead?
I know, exactly. Yeah.
And there's a big difference, Greta. It changed the item that was on his dick. The animal changed from a parrot to an elephant. Now, I just want to state they are very different sized animals.
An elephant trunk. I don't know. Look, I was gone for a while. He could have had a costume change. I mean, the guy's like, sure, you know.
He's got a confidence and an energy about him. There's a lot to lose in that guy.
Well, there's another story where he did a set at a Sydney club, and me and Sarah were making fun of him, and he pegged a handbag at my head. That's a whole other story. But everybody will have to, at the Coogee Bay Hotel. So
sweet googly
that's going to be next week. That's going to be next week. So everybody will have to tune in for that when Sasa, the bald Italian naked man, threw a handbag at my head.
What a cliffhanger.
Totally. You're going to want to know. Everybody, you've been so amazing. Bridie, thank you so much for sharing those. Oh, so sweet, Bridie-esque tables. And it's been a wonderful Friday night. Thank you so much. And everybody, please tune in next week and we'll have some fun. Good on you. All right. Bye.